What's going on, guys? Here we look at the big trade that went down last night. Arizona trading Dylan Strome and Brandon Perlini, the Chicago Blackhawks, for Nick Schmaltz. So honestly, initial reaction to this, I really like this trade for Chicago. Dylan Strome was the 3rd overall pick for a reason. Obviously, there are a lot of better players from that draft class right now, but I still think he has a lot of potential. As you guys can see here in this game, he's 21 years old, 78 overall, medium elite potential, so does have quite a bit of value here. Still 2 years left on his entry-level deal. I feel like for sure if Chicago's going to accept this trade and Arizona's going to reject this trade, as Strome just had so much more value than the other 2 players. As you can see there, role is depth forward, 21 years old, 6'3" center. He's pretty good in the face-off circle, playmaker there. Again, I think he was picked 3rd overall for a reason. I just think he might be a late bloomer. He actually had over point per game in AHL last year. I know like S7 just released a graphic with like the best 15 players from 2015. So obviously Arizona, some people think, really messed up with that pick. Could have had Marner, Hanifin, Rantanen, so many guys, Barzell. But I mean, we'll have to wait and see. That was definitely the toughest pick in that draft. As everyone knew, McDavid was clear-cut number 1. Eichel the clear-cut number 2. Who do you pick though at number 3? So obviously, like I was saying, I like this trade a lot for Chicago because not only are they getting Dylan Strome, they're also getting Brandon Perlini, who's a pretty good player in his own right. In game here, 22 years old, 80 overall. 1 year left there on his entry-level deal. Medium top 6 forward potential. Role is a 3rd-line scoring forward. As you can see there, he's actually 12th overall in 2014. So they're trading 2 first-round picks here to Chicago for another first-round pick, who's actually later than both of them. Last year, Perlini had 30 points in the NHL in 74 games, so not too bad. This year, I think he's got like 6 and 20. Same goes for Dylan Strome, so both could use a change of scenery, but I don't know. I think it's just too big of a price to pay for Nick Schmaltz. I like him. I think he's a good player, but I just think they're paying too much. In-game, you can see he is the highest rated of the 3, 83 overall there. 22 years old, medium top 6 potential. He also has 1 year left on his entry-level deal, so him and Perlini both will be getting a new contract after the season. Role there, 2nd-line forward. I've heard he's really not that great in the face-off circle, so kind of surprised he's actually got better face-offs than Strome in-game. His are 75, Strome's were only 73, but obviously EA doesn't always get everything right. And apparently this trade does not go through in-game. Chicago would have more than 45 skaters, so we'll just add like the least valuable player here who doesn't have a bad contract or anything like that. Alright, Hillman, perfect, 22, 71 year left. And you can see Chicago's obviously going to say yes. Like, look at the value there between Strome, Perlini, and Chicago. Also forgot to mention, too, both teams are hopeful in real life. It's kind of exactly where they're at, both outside the playoffs, trying to make a push for the wild card. We'll see here what they say. And obviously, yeah, they do say yes. Again, I don't know. I feel like Arizona, they've waited this long on Strome, and they're now giving up when, you know, maybe he's about to start turning it around. Forgot to mention, too, guys, this is like the 4th trade Arizona-Chicago made in the past couple years. And honestly, I think Arizona won the previous 3, but Chicago finally wins this one. The first one, of course, was the Jarmelson trade. Obviously, Arizona won that. So much better defenseman than Murphy. The next one was actually the Duclair trade. And I think if Chicago kept Duclair, it might not have been too bad, as he looked pretty good in Columbus. But I definitely like Panic staying on Arizona more than Duclair leaving Chicago. And then most recently, of course, was the Hossa cap dump, where Arizona got Hinostroza and Osterley along with a 3rd-round pick just for taking on Hossa's contract. So I thought that worked out really well for them, too. But finally here, I think Chicago does get a trade win. So now try it from the other side. Almost positive it's not going to go through, but let's see what happens. So like I was saying, guys, I'm going to try to trade from Chicago's perspective. I forgot to mention earlier, too, I always do these trades on hard difficulty, but I really don't think it mattered the difficulty for this one. So Arizona does want Schmaltz here. Again, I don't really know if they're going to like kind of the price they have to give up to get him, but they do want him. I mean, when you look at the difference in value there, like, yeah, there is just no way Arizona says yes to this. And of course, yeah, they do decline. The other thing I was talking about too, I forgot to show you guys. So Schmaltz was actually the 20th pick in 2014. Same draft as Perlini, who was the 12th pick. And then, of course, Strome was 3rd overall in 2015. So when you look at it just as like draft picks even, you can really kind of tell the value Arizona's losing there. Now, having said that, like I mentioned before, Schmaltz is the highest rated of the 3 players, 83 overall, and he's had the best season. He put up over 50 points last year. But I think a big reason for that was because he was playing with Patrick Kane so much. I'm very interested to see now how he does in Arizona. Speaking of, I'm actually going to get to the 2 teams' lines look like now after the trade. So right here, guys, what the Coyotes forward group might look like when they're healthy. You got Panic, Stefan, and Keller on the first line. Hinostroza, Schmaltz, and Galchenyuk on the second. So an entirely like new line, basically. They traded for all those guys in the last 6 months. Grabner, Dvorak, and Fisher on the third, with Cousins, Richardson, and Krause on the fourth. Honestly, it's still not too bad looking. Definitely interesting to see like kind of how both these teams rebound from the trades. Obviously, they're trying to get Galchenyuk going as well. He's been pretty good this year so far, 9 points in 15 games, but not as good as Max Domi, which is super surprising. Me, along with pretty much everybody, I think, really thought Arizona stole GALCHENYUK from Montreal, but right now, Domi is just looking like his old World Junior self. It's kind of insane. Next year, we'll take a look at Chicago lines. And right here, guys, what I think might be the best look for Chicago's new forward lines. So first line here, you just go top heavy, SAAD, TOEWS, and Kane. Obviously, I think TOEWS and Kane reunited might be really good for them, and then SAAD playing on that top line could definitely get him going again. Second line here, you have Perlini, Strome, and DEBRINCAT. So Strome and Perlini staying together. Also, too, totally didn't mention, DEBRINCAT and Strome actually played together in junior on the Erie Otters and absolutely dominated. That Erie Otters team was absolutely stacked. Not only did they have DEBRINCAT and Strome, they also had McDavid, Radish, Connor Brown. Like, it was so good. And both Strome and DEBRINCAT averaged almost 2 points per game in junior, so maybe having DEBRINCAT playing with Strome again will really get Strome going. I also feel like Strome was really underutilized on Arizona, playing like 12 minutes a night on the third or fourth line. Chicago actually gives him a chance, gives him the minutes, plays him on the second line here with DEBRINCAT and Perlini, some guys that can play. I really think that he could definitely kind of reignite his career. The other thing, too, that's really cool about this, not only did Strome and DEBRINCAT play together, they're actually best friends. Strome was just on the Spin Chicos podcast, and he was talking about how him and DEBRINCAT lived together in juniors, and DEBRINCAT didn't even have a room in the house. He just like laid on a mattress out in the middle of the living room or something. They still like play Xbox, I think, and stuff, and he still follows his games. So these two back together again. I'm very excited to see what happens. Obviously, you guys can tell, I think this trade is just huge for Chicago. Excited to see, obviously, the ramification of it. Maybe, you know, Schmaltz tears it up in the desert. We'll have to wait and see. We'll let you hear what you guys think about this trade in the comments section. Other than that, thank you guys for watching this one. If you did enjoy it, leave a thumbs up. Have a nice day, guys. Goodbye.